I don't know what happened, but OBS keeps on crashing anytime I want to adjust how something looks. So I'm sorry, guys, but I can't do it.
Which the officer presented to Judge Rhymes. However, Newsom was not ready to rest his case. He got into a heated argument with the judge, who promptly asked the officer to remove the defendant from court. This is when things got crazy. First, Newsom grabbed a stack of papers and threw it at Judge Rhymes.
Oh shit. Oh shit.
The officer tried to subdue him, but Newsom managed to overpower her. He then threw a telephone at the judge.
Bro, what? A whole damn phone?
This is when Judge Rhymes decided to take matters into his own hands. As Newsom threw more paper at him, the judge single-handedly pinned the defendant to the table.
Damn.
Eventually, backup arrived. Newsom was restrained and removed from the courtroom. Newsom faced additional charges of contempt of court and served 48 hours in prison. While a judge literally took justice into his own hands, what happens when a defendant flies towards a judge?
Can't that history. In accordance with the laws of
Bro, I've seen this.
Like in the case of 30-year-old Deobra Redden, who's facing charges of attempted battery.
Whoever did the
Las Vegas,
remix and
Nevada.
added the eagle
Redden was
sound
arrested
effect,
after
you're
he
fucking
allegedly
evil,
attacked
but
his
you're a
brother-in-law
goddamn
with a
genius.
baseball bat. Redden pleaded guilty and faced a possible sentence of 1 to 4 years in prison. At his sentencing, Redden had a calm and matter-of-fact exchange with Judge Mary Kay Holthus.
Based on my history, like I feel that like I should be like sent to prison for a second crime.
Have you looked at your criminal history? Have you looked at your criminal history?
I actually just I look at it.
When you lived it.
I just look at it.
Yeah.
Judge Holthus then reminded Redden of his criminal history.
3 felonies, a gross, 9 misdemeanors, multiple DVs. Got a lot going on, sir. Battery on a protected person, robberies, attempt home invasion.
Redden, who struggled with mental health issues like schizophrenia and bipolar disorder, tried to convince Judge Holthus that he deserved a second chance.
My personality and having a baby at that moment, in those instances, and just trying to learn from my mistakes, you know? And I feel like I shouldn't be sent to prison, but if it's appropriate for you, then you have to do what you have to do. But I figure that, you know, if I'm in a better place in my life, I'm not doing drugs, I'm not out there committing crimes now, you know, and I feel like I should be given a shot.
Judge was having none of it.
I appreciate that, but I think it's time that you get a taste of something else because I just can't with that history.
This is when the defendant went nuts.
I just can't with that history.
Redden launched over the courtroom bench and headed straight for Judge Holthus. Eventually, deputies were able to restrain him.
Holy fuck, bro.
There was sheer chaos in the courtroom as alarms went off and people started calling for help.
Affirmative medical is requested. Judge's chambers.
Yeah, be advised. My 15's got a big laceration to his head. Judge put her head into the wall, and I got an inmate squeezing up here.
Oh, shit.
Transport to UC for the marshal. I'm also going to need a biohazard thing up to a lot of boy.
Thankfully, Judge Holthus didn't suffer any serious injuries. However, it was later revealed that Redden had punched her several times and pulled out parts of her hair.
I smashed into the wall. He was on me, and then I was being pulled down. I had closed my eyes. I was trying to protect my face and my head. I just remember saying, help, help, somebody get him off. I mean, in my head, I was completely defenseless. He was so determined and so violent. It was scary. I didn't think I was going to get out of there.
But one marshal was not so lucky. He was hospitalized and needed 25 stitches after suffering a forehead injury, as well as a dislocated shoulder. Redden faced 13 new charges for the attack on Judge Wolfus, including attempted murder, battery, and extortion by threat.
You're being charged with count 1.
Who the fuck got a hold of him, Walker?
Count 2, battery on a protected person resulting in substantial bodily harm, victim 60 years of age or older, a felony.
What are you
Redden
eating?
later pleaded guilty.
Eating a chicken pot pie. What's up, Skeletus?
While Theopra Redden took out his anger on an unlucky judge. What happens when a judge challenges a lawyer to a fight?
If you want to fight, let's go out back and I'll just go out.
We head to the Moore Justice Center in Brevard County, Florida, where public defender Andrew Weinstock and his client are appearing before Judge John Murphy. Since the court already had a packed schedule, Judge Murphy wanted the defendant to waive his right to a fast trial.
No.
What do you want? I'm not waiting. Want to set up for trial? Set up for trial. All right, if you want to set for docket time, we set for docket time. I'm not waiting it anyways.
Tensions in the courtroom reached an all-time high when public defender Weinstock refused to budge.
You know, if I had a rock, I would throw it at you right now.
You know, this.
Stop pissing me off. Just sit down. I'll take care of it. I don't need your help.
No, you know, I'm the public defender. I have a right to be here, and I have a right to stand
I said
and represent
sit
my
down.
client.
See, moments earlier, Weinstock had a confrontation with Judge Murphy while representing another client.
This is Rodriguez, public defender. What do you want to do? It's going to expire before I can get him in. So, question.
My emergency.
Question. Do you want to set it for trial?
You can set it for trial. if you
Oh
want to set it
shit,
for
yeah.
trial,
I need to fucking join it.
I'm
My
not
bad.
waiting. That's the question is, am I waiting? The answer is,
That's
I'm not
easy.
waiting.
Just say it.
Okay, I'm not waiting.
I forgot
don't
that
care.
was you, Skeletus.
I just needed to set it for a date.
However, what Judge Murphy suggested next was never heard of in a courtroom before.
If you want to fight, let's go out back and I'll just go out.
Hey, yo!
Both Weinstock and Judge Murphy went to the back of the courtroom and actually had a physical altercation.
Bro!
He backed me up. He had me pinned to the wall with his right arm. And he brought his left.
Bro! They actually threw hands? What the fuck? What? Hold on. I gotta fucking take a minute to rehydrate. I'll be right back. Hopefully my brain will be, like, pretty decently fixed by then. And we're back.
Left hand back in a fist. Then he punched me in the face, hitting me here.
Bro,
My
what?
lower right jaw. And I was absolutely shocked by it.
After a while, Judge Murphy returned to the courtroom alone.
He actually did, bro. What?
Later, the incident was investigated
What
by
the
Florida's
fuck?
Judicial Qualifications Commission, and Judge Murphy was charged with misconduct. The case eventually reached the Supreme Court, which ordered Judge Murphy to be immediately suspended and permanently removed from his post. Weinstock later resigned from his position at the public defender's office. While Judge John Murphy ruined his career by
would
fighting a
you?
lawyer, how does it compare to throwing a backpack at the judge?
What?
We head to Cleveland, Ohio, to the Cleveland Municipal Court, where Judge Marilyn Cassidy is overseeing proceedings. Defendant June Carson was in court today for a misdemeanor trespassing charge. Carson made his way to the podium alone, carrying a black backpack.
Are you representing, sir? By an attorney? I'm sorry. No. You have the right to an attorney.
Judge Cassidy delayed the hearing so Carson could hire a lawyer, but the defendant had other ideas.
I don't think I'm going to do it. Continue. See you on the 20th. Sir, that's fine.
This is where things took a wild turn.
What the fuck, bro said? Yeet. What the fuck?
After his protests were ignored, Carson cocked his backpack and hurled it towards the judge, narrowly missing her.
Kind of had a concern was when that backpack was coming at me, I wasn't sure if there was something that was going to come after that. I didn't know if he threw that and then was going to pull a weapon or some other thing.
Judge Cassidy quickly took cover and hit the panic button under her desk to alert security. Meanwhile, Carson punched public defender David Eidenmiller, who wasn't even involved in his case and just happened to be there. Carson was then tackled by a man who was sitting in the gallery. His court officers rushed in to help.
We secured the right arm and the left arm. We cuffed him and got him up and out of here.
Why?
All in a day's work.
Carson was cuffed and hauled out of the courtroom.
What did he
was
do?
later charged with contempt of court and sentenced to 30 days in jail. While June Carson's poor aim resulted in a judge escaping unhurt, what happens when a judge has to physically restrain a convict? Like in the case of Jacob Larson, who was in a Jackson County court for violating a personal protection order. Judge John McBain, known for his no-nonsense conduct, presided over the hearing. A year ago, Judge McBain had signed off on a personal protection order after Larson was accused of stalking a classmate.
You're out there hanging out at her place of employment. You're putting things all over her car. Her managers have got to come in there and ask you to leave.
The terrified victim appeared in court and narrated her ordeal.
I don't even know him, so I just don't understand how he's like so obsessed and like keeps messaging me.
Shit.
I have messages from October 9th after we
My
met
bad,
in court,
everyone.
and then I have some from the 23rd.
However, Larson blames the woman for his actions.
She's
What?
instigating it though.
Why do you
What do
do
you
it? She's
mean?
But she's posting pictures and whatnot, dragged it to me. All like a lot of makeup, hair done, all that stuff, like the full nine. She's, subtweeting me and whatnot on Twitter.
Is that true?
I don't have him on Facebook. I don't have him on Twitter. I have him
Cheers,
on no
Skeletus.
social media whatsoever. My Twitter's private.
Judge McBain reminded Larson of what
I'm gonna
happened when he
preheat my rig
previously
real quick.
appeared in his court.
Warned you about last time. I told you to just leave her alone. She was a classmate of yours. She apparently has no interest in
I want her to tell me to leave her alone.
You know what? I told you to leave her alone. And apparently that didn't get through loud and clear. So today, you're going to jail for 3 days.
The defendant then made a ridiculous claim.
You and her are all
You know what?
This is when Judge McBain became irate.
Cheers.
You had a bad attitude. You had a bad attitude last time you were in court.
You and her are buddy.
45 days county jail.
Oh,
Okay. 93 days in the county jail. You want to go for a year? Try it right now. One more word out of you, it'll be a year of counting.
over Facebook. Hey, brother.
93 days in county.
I ain't never threatened
Stand
her.
up.
Couple.
Stand up.
Buddy more.
Stand up. You're going to a jail for a year in the county. 365 days county jail.
Can't do it.
Appeal it.
After learning his fate, Larson resisted arrest and made an aggressive move towards the victim.
Put your hands behind your back. Now I'll leave you alone. I'm gonna leave you alone. Tell me right now. Put your hands behind your back. Put your hands behind your back.
Judge McBain sprang into action. As Larson got into a scuffle with a deputy, the judge removed his black robe and decided to help out.
Chase his ass right now.
Damn!
Put it down. That's enough for you. All right? Get your taser right. Put it down.
Get your taser right. Get on.
I'll taser out right now. Put your hands behind your back.
We'll make it 93.
Bro!
Can't tell me to leave you alone. Can't tell me to leave you alone.
Even though Judge McBain initially went up to a year in the heat of the moment, once everything calmed down, Larson was sentenced to 93 days in prison. While Jacob Larson got 90 days extra jail time for refusing to cooperate, how does it compare to lunging at a judge?
Go now.
Like in the case of Melissa Hardwick, who was in a Kentucky courtroom
Bitch
for
looks
a
like a
domestic
crackhead.
violence hearing. Hardwick's ex-husband had previously filed a domestic violence order against her.
And are you asking the
She
court to
looks
enter
like
an
she
order
commits
restraining the
domestic
respondent from any
violence.
contact with you?
The husband was explaining the situation when Hardwick started to interrupt.
Things have been escalating, I guess, since the first of the year. And Melissa's had a couple MIWs and a couple arrests. We hadn't really had anything personal up until that point. She got out of jail in April, and she
My
started...
personal life is
No.
business, nothing to do with
Miss Hardwick,
No.
you will be held in contempt of this court if you become disruptive.
First, Judge Jennifer Edwards gave the defendant a warning, but Hardwick didn't care, so the judge charged her with contempt and sentenced her to 10 days in jail.
I haven't done anything to this court. I haven't done anything to him.
She will be arrested for contempt of the court.
It doesn't make any difference.
You will serve 10 days for contempt of court.
This is when things got really crazy.
You will serve 10 days for contempt of court. Go now.
Shit, I missed it.
Hands behind your back.
Hardwick leapfrogged and reached out to get her hands on Judge Edwards, but thankfully court deputies stepped in just in time. However, that didn't stop Hardwick's verbal threats.
Wait and see. Get my bracelet off the floor. Get it. You'll be saying what happens.
Hardwick faced additional criminal charges for her antics. Eventually, Hardwick was sentenced to 120 days in prison for her outburst. While Melissa Hardwick's attack was stopped in the nick of time, how does it compare to throwing a chair at the judge?
What?
We head to the Bartholomew County Court in Columbus, Indiana, where 20-year-old Jordan Rhodes is appearing for a probation violation. Today, Rhodes is pleading guilty in front of Judge Kathleen Corridon, who proceeds to sentence the defendant to a year in prison. However, Rhodes was not pleased with the verdict and began cursing at the judge. Judge Corridon ordered Rhodes to be held in contempt and added 90 days to his sentence. This is when Rhodes decided to grab a seat for the judge.
Holy shit! Hey, yo! What?
The first chair flew towards prosecutor Jeremy Fisk, narrowly missing him. The second chair landed at the court clerk's desk, smashing her computer. Everyone stepped back as Rhodes kept bombing the judge's bench with a barrage of chairs, before promptly leaving the courtroom and calmly surrendering to the deputies outside. Rhodes was additionally charged with battery resulting in injury to a public safety officer and sentenced to 6 years in prison. 6 months later, Rhodes was back in court after starting a fight with prison guards. This time, he took his anger out on the attorney's desk.
Damn!
While Jordan Rhodes clearly needs anger management classes, how does it compare to clocking your lawyer in the face?
What?
Like in the case of Joseph Zeeler, who's on trial for double murder in Cape Coral, Florida. Back in May 1990, 11-year-old Robin Cornell and her babysitter Lisa Story were found assaulted.
Why does that dude look like a punk rocker who never grew up?
Robin's mom, Jan Cornell, who called 911. The case went cold for over 2 decades until Zeeler was arrested in 2016 for shooting and injuring his son. Zeeler's DNA was collected and entered into the database, which matched DNA evidence from the 1990 crime scene. Zeeler was further charged with 2 counts of capital murder. During the trial, the prosecution sought the death penalty.
The kind of factors which makes what the defendant did to Robin Cornell and Lisa Story so grave, so serious, that death is the appropriate recommendation, that death is the appropriate sentence.
Zeeler also took the stand, where he initially denied knowing both the victims and Jan Cornell. Do you know Jan Cornell?
No, I don't know Jan Cornell.
Do you know Lisa Story?
No.
Do you know Robin Cornell?
No.
But Zeeler later claimed his DNA was at the crime scene because he and the victim, Robin Cornell's mother, Jan, were involved in intimate acts the night before the murders.
And what I believe happened is I slept with Jan Cornell and Leanne Deller.
He even called the mother a pig.
And they were just too much of a pig not to wash their sheets.
Zeeler then claimed that the prosecution was framing him.
Hey, yo!
They actually took the sheet, recut another sample, and had another analyst do the same test. Did you hear that?
Yes.
So the retesting was done.
I believe FDLE is siding with the prosecution. Of course they're going to say that.
At one point during his testimony, Zeeler also seemed to flip off the courtroom camera. Eventually, the jury found Zeeler guilty of first-degree murder.
We, the jury, find as follows as to count 1 of the charge. The defendant is guilty of first-degree murder of Robin Cornell. We, the jury, find as follows as to count 2 of the charge. The defendant is guilty of first-degree murder of Lisa Story.
Despite his antics during the trial, what Zeeler did next left the whole courtroom stunned. At sentencing, Zeeler appeared in handcuffs. He then asked his attorney, Kevin Shirley, for a private discussion. As Shirley leaned in, Zeeler threw a cheap shot with his elbow. Thankfully, court deputies quickly subdued him. Meanwhile, Shirley saw the funny side of the incident.
Shirley, are you okay? I'm fine.
Fucking dumbass.
I used to box. I've taken a lot better shots than that.
After the dust settled, it was time for Zeeler to learn his fate.
That's fair.
Conclude that the death penalty would be a proportionate sentence in this case. Therefore,
damn, they're calling for the death penalty. That's
laws of the state of Florida, the defendant
like,
has
you
forfeited
fucked
his
up
right
if
to
they're
live.
calling for the death penalty on your ass.
Accordingly, it is ordered and adjudged that the defendant, Joseph Adam Zeeler, is hereby sentenced to death for the murder of Robin Cornell and the murder of Lisa Story.
Ultimately, Zeeler was given the death penalty for the murders of Robin Cornell and Lisa Story. While
That's
Joseph
what you get,
Zeeler's
bro.
attack on his defense seems premeditated, how does it compare to using bodily fluids to show discontent? Like in the case of Ricky Hand, who's facing multiple charges
That's just
of robbery
fucking
in
nasty,
Springfield,
bro.
Ohio. Late one night in April 2016, the owner of John's drive-thru was preparing to end his shift. Unknown to him, his business was about to be targeted. 46-year-old Ricky Hand, a known career criminal, was about to rob John's drive-thru that night. However, the store owner was already armed and ready after seeing Hand approach on security cameras. The man shot at Hand multiple times and the perpetrator fled the scene. The owner then called 911.
Yeah, this is John's drive-thru, West Main Street. A guy just tried to rob me and I shot him. He ran out the back door.
Okay,
I think I hit him.
Police arrived and traced Hand to a nearby hospital where he was arrested. Hand later confessed to the robbery attempt.
I did try to rob John's drive-thru. I got shot 3 times. I did the crime. I ain't gonna lie. I just wanted to live.
He also admitted his involvement in a series of other robberies.
There have been probably a half a dozen or more robberies. Now you're looking at John's. You're looking at this break into this beauty salon.
That's all I've done. I'm going to prison for a long time.
Well, you know that.
Eventually, Hand pleaded guilty to 7 robbery-related charges and was sentenced to 40 years in prison. Clearly expecting a lesser sentence, Hand put his disgusting plan into action.
Did you just give me 40 years? Sir? Yes. You just gave me 40 years. Well, guess what? Sir, what's this?
You can't play Jesus and God? What's wrong with you? Man, 40 is a death sentence, man. Yeah, man.
After learning his fate, Hand proceeded to fling hidden pill bottles filled with feces and urine at his own lawyer before being detained by court officers. Due to his antics, Hand faced additional charges of harassment with bodily fluids, obstructing justice, and retaliation. While Ricky Hand's biohazard bomb left everyone stunned and disgusted, how does it compare to spitting on a judge? Like in the case of 30-year-old Bass Webb, who's on trial for attempted murder in Paris, Kentucky. CCTV footage outside a Kentucky jail showed Webb, a former inmate who spent 3 months there, intentionally hitting 2 prison workers with his car. While one guy managed to dodge it, the other was not so lucky. Webb was arrested and produced before Judge Vanessa Dixon.
Can you word your side? Yeah. That be yes?
Yes.
Since she knew the 2 jail employees beforehand, Judge Dixon decided to recuse herself from the case.
There's no way I'm going to try this case. If I have any further proceedings, I'll have to see you for one further setting.
But what Webb did next shocked everyone.
Next week. Charge me.
In an act of defiance, Webb spat on Judge Dixon, clearly taking her by surprise. After initially dismissing him, Judge Dixon brought Webb back, charged him, and threw him out of her courtroom. Now, if that wasn't enough, 5 years later, another cold case came to haunt Webb. This time, he was charged with the murder of another ex-girlfriend, Sabrina Vaughn. This time, Webb appeared in court with a sinister tattoo on his head. It had a murder hit list of all the people he intended to kill, including all judges, all prosecutors, all cops, the media, 3 rats that had been crossed out, and many more. Despite his threatening tattoos, Webb was convicted again.
You have found the defendant guilty of the offense of intentional murder.
Ultimately, Webb was sentenced to life in prison, with the possibility of parole after 25 years. While Bass Webb's threatening tattoos certainly kept a few people up at night, what happens when a defendant gets attacked by the victim's mother? Like in the case of Tevin Biles Thomas, brother of Olympic gold medalist Simone Biles, who was accused of a triple homicide in Cleveland, Ohio. On New Year's Eve 2018, police arrived at an Airbnb rental after receiving a 911 call.
Somebody just got shot at a party over there.
Somebody just got shot at a party?
2 people did.
Oh, shit.
They're both dead.
According to reports, a group of uninvited guests showed up at a party. After being asked to leave, an argument ensued. 24-year-old Biles allegedly opened fire on the group, killing 3 people. Biles was arrested and charged with murder, homicide, voluntary manslaughter, felonious assault, and perjury. His first trial ended in a mistrial after the jurors mistakenly saw legal briefs among the trial evidence. At his retrial, none of the 18 witnesses called by the state, including law enforcement officers, could positively identify Biles as the shooter.
He was a first responder. He secured the scene and testified to the arrival of EMS. He did not identify any shooter. The best recollection of the shooter's clothing is 75% accurate. A far cry from the compelling, persuasive evidence one would expect in a matter so tragic and serious.
As a result, Judge Joan Seinenberg acquitted Biles on all charges for lack of sufficient evidence.
In view of the evidence in the light most favorable to the state, it is insufficient to sustain a conviction. The motion is granted as to all counts.
This is when the courtroom erupted.
I thank everyone for their effort, and my heart goes out to the families of the victims. We're in recess.
After the case was dismissed, the mother of one of the victims lashed out in pain and anger and charged towards the defendant's table.
God damn, dude.
Thankfully, court deputies stepped in just in time. It took 3 officers to get the distraught woman under control. She faced no additional charges.
Well, at least that. Oh, no, don't play that. That's A&E. I can't play that. Jesus Christ, though, bro. By the way, that's the plugin I was looking at from Twitch. Like, Own Pro. Should I actually install that? Can you Oh, okay, so it's just... Oh! So I can combine that with fucking stream elements. Holy shit! Fucking bet. But you know what, guys? I'm honestly gonna head out, and then I'm gonna stream again. Let's see. It's 7:12. I'm gonna stream again around 11 o'clock. Because I'm going to go off camera, I'm going to run to the store, I got to do laundry, and then I will be back. So, expect a new layout and everything like that. I would say probably, if I'm able to, I'll stream around 11 o'clock. But anyways, guys, stay high, stay metal, stay safe, motherfuckers, and I'll see you guys later tonight.